it is my great honor to welcome Adam Tritt, who's going to speak to us about Foundation 451, the Banned Book Project and book banning in America.
So I want to start off by talking about the favorite thing that you would talk about, churches, etc., pornography. Thank you for that. In 1973, the Supreme Court took on a case, California versus Miller, and that was incidentally what we call a conservative Supreme Court. That was not a liberal Supreme Court. That is the same year that Roe versus Wade went through the Supreme Court, and that was a conservative Supreme Court. This is a year that gave us a quote from Justice Potter Stewart that is paraphrased most commonly as a quote, "I can't tell you what pornography is, but I know it when I see it." I know it when I see it is accurate. That's part of what he said. The first part had a lot more legalese in it. However, that came out of California versus Miller. Miller was suing to get a national standard so that books could be banned nationwide, books, magazines, etc. It failed. Out of this came the Miller test. This is a little bit of background about this so we know where we're going. The Miller test. There are three parts to the Miller test. The first part is, given common standards of the average person in our culture in a specific area, would they consider this book to be pornographic? The second, any portions of this book that may be considered pornographic, is it endemic to the book as a whole? Is it necessary? The third, does this book have literary merit? Obviously, Miller failed. There is no national standard, and the Miller test still holds as the standard we use for discussing whether a book, other than being age appropriate, can be used in an educative setting. Move forward some odd number of years till we get to, 2 years ago. Locally, Tina Descovich loses her election. She becomes embittered, and she creates a group called Moms for Liberty. Moms for Liberty, their first thing they tackle is, we don't want masks in school. They're not specifically for anything except to tell other people what to do. Now they have set their sights nationally on banning books. Every school system has a method by which books can be looked at to see whether they're appropriate, to test the appropriateness of books, age guidelines, curriculum, etc. That has been, due to Moms for Liberty, in most places in the United States, has been circumvented. What they're doing is they're going directly after teachers, directly after principals, and directly after school board members. So instead of allowing there to be a board, and Brevard County does have a board, and if you want to be on the board to review books, they need people. They're looking for people to be on these boards. Don't let the other side be on the board without you being on there as well. Instead of allowing the time and necessity of having people read books, what they do instead is offer to sue school board members. We'll sue you if this book doesn't come off of the shelves. We will dox you. We will have people come to your homes. For teachers, they make teachers miserable. Every day we're going to write you and ask for your lesson plans for that day. Every day we're going to ask for, what are the qualifications of this lesson? Why are you giving this lesson? What is the objective? Let us read the materials that you're using. All technically within their rights. But you can imagine as a teacher, you can't do this every day with 3 or 4 different parents. These are their tactics. Usually, the teachers, the school board gives in. End of last year, I received 2 emails in short succession. The first email was from the Department of Education through the curriculum director for English to me that I need to turn over the textbooks that I'm using for my AP class so they can qualify them under Stop Woke. We'll get to Stop Woke in a little bit. I told them that thus far the school board has not deemed it necessary that I have any textbooks. And they are welcome to come look through my filing cabinets for whatever it is I've managed to cobble together. The second email I got told me I needed to take this book off of my shelves. It could no longer be available to students. Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. Slaughterhouse, we had just talked about Kurt Vonnegut's letter to the Drake County School Board, which started off with, "Sir, I am very real, and you have offended me," when they took all of his books and put them in the furnace. What are their reasons for banning this? One, it has a crudely drawn picture of breasts in it. I'm not going to show you the picture. I don't wish to offend anyone here. And in case anyone here does not know what those look like, I do not want to do that to you. The second, it satirizes Christianity's part in war. The third, it has offensive language, such as when a soldier gets shot, he doesn't say, "Oh, excuse me, I believe I've been shot." Or when he is pulling bodies out of rooms that have been evacuated of all of their oxygen, dead, desiccated bodies. This is a first-person narrative of a mental break of a soldier who survived the firebombing of Dresden, a combat infantry veteran and POW. And while we are saying with one corner of our mouth that we support veterans, with the other side, they're taking the books out of the classrooms. They're taking the books away that the veterans thought we could have freedoms, we should have freedoms to read. We have one veteran who wrote us asking, "When will this end? I feel like I wasted my time fighting for my country. What do I do now?" This has been removed. Kite Runner was removed also because it has one paragraph in it that describes a rape. Necessary for the progression of the book, so you know why the character is doing what the character is doing. Removed. These two books have since been reinstated. The reason for this is, I think, is to shut me up. But the Kite Runner has been reinstated because the AP, advanced placement, College Board stepped in and said, "We will remove all of your advanced placement classes." There's a list of 41 books that Moms for Liberty wants to ban. These books are now challenged in this county, and the result of this is that before the first day of school, we had to all cull our shelves. Not only did the library have to cull their shelves, but our classroom libraries had to be culled. And no one quite knows how we're supposed to go about this, so principals wanting to cover their butts all made different rules up so that none of them would be liable, none of them want to be doxxed or sued. So in our school, the librarian came into each of our rooms and simply knocked down each book that should not be made available to the students. I put those in a pile. I have them labeled AP. 10th grade students ask to read them, and I tell them they can't. That's where we are now. These included poetry books, history books, such as, let's see, legends, myths, and legends, lies, and cherished myths of American history. Can't have that. It's not allowed. A people's history, not allowed. The works of Eudora Welty, not allowed. The poetry of Edna St. Vincent Millay, not allowed. We're not even talking about material that anyone could look at in any way and suggest is prurient, but simply not allowed because we do not want to run afoul of Mothers for Liberty. What else was removed? Drama was removed from a middle school library. No other middle school library except the one in Rockledge, because their directives are unclear. Sowing confusion and dissent is part of the plan. So while this has not been specifically challenged, it is gone. And just Friday, a box of this was delivered to my room. I really wish I hadn't sent it through the school, but it was delivered to my room. Why? This was used in a 6th grade classroom. It's a lovely book if anyone wants to read it. We have some copies back there. The Stars Beneath Our Feet. The other book was called Drama. The Stars Beneath Our Feet. Coming of age story of a young Black gentleman with a separated family. How to navigate the world coming up. The 6th grade teachers were afraid to use it. So they boxed them. They sent them to the middle school, where the middle school English teacher said, no, we're not sure we can use those either. So they were going to throw them in the trash. This is a box of new books, 36 copies in the trash. Instead, they were sent to me. We'll make sure they go to the right places. They'll get in the right hands. So at this point, they don't even need to be banned. They take a section, they take an excerpt, they take a frame, they put it on Facebook, other social media. Isn't this horrible? Can you imagine? This isn't a book. Your kids are reading these. And people look at the one frame, the one section, and oh my God, we can't have that in our schools. Nothing in context, nothing explained. And suddenly people are all up in arms and wanting to remove books. And that's exactly what they did with the Kite Runner. That's what they did with Genderqueer back there, which you can all take a look at because of 2 frames in the book. It's no longer allowed. 2 frames. Look at a few more of these books. Crank is no longer allowed here. And these are just books. These are books right here. We're not even talking nationally at the moment. Crank. The story of someone kicking drugs, the effect of drugs at kicking drugs, told in verse. One kid picked up this book and looked at it at our table and put it down. And another one picked it up, held it out to her and said, no, you don't understand. This saved my life. The other kid obviously needed the book and took it. We've had similar happen with books like this on that back table. This book is gay. Kid walks over, looks at it. Other people walk over, she walks away. She comes back when the table's empty, looks at it, picks it up, puts it down when other people come over. Does it a 3rd time, puts it down, picks up another book and walks off. Just the book next to it. Comes back a half hour later, the table's empty. Can I have this book? Can I change books? Of course you can. This is the book I really needed. But it's the book she can no longer get in school. LGBTQ kids have had their suicide rate in the past 3 years double. Don't try to blame this on the pandemic. It has doubled. And when you look at LGBTQ representation in schools, The gay straight alliances are disappearing. Their books are disappearing. They are no longer they're no longer visible. They're no longer acknowledged. They're no longer, we say they're accepted, but really, I believe that they're being tolerated at this point. I have had textbooks where lines were simply removed because the line had the word homosexual in it. The rest of the story was there, but that one line was removed. I've read this story. There seems to be something missing here. And I go look it up. Sure enough, that one line has been removed. So there's no representation. We have changed the representation of people of color. As long as it's nice and it's someone who's making it in this world and they're going to be like everybody else, like a proper American, the story can stay. But if it's a story of difficulties and struggle, economic justice, it goes away. It goes away. See what else we have here. This is where we get to talk about stop woke. You don't have to ban a book for it to be banned. We cannot, because of the parents' rights law, stop woke. I can't use material from this. I can be sued. I can't use material in this because I am afraid of making someone uncomfortable. Yes, the CRT boogeyman, which if you're paying attention, there are people saying now, oh, now they're masking CRT as SEL, social emotional learning. So none of this namby-pamby, don't commit suicide, or if you need help, please see an adult. If you're depressed, talk to someone. Somehow that's now CRT. So we can't use this book. You don't have to ban a book to ban a book. You just ban the ideas. Also banned an indigenous people's history of the United States for the same reason. Now we've concentrated on the 40 books that Moms for Liberty, and I'll talk about our organization in a minute or two. I forgot to set my timer. It's in my back pocket. Anyway, but we also have the top 10 of the ACLU and the top 10 of Washington Post and the top 10 of the American Library Association. And on some of those top 10s, you'll see a book back there called Fry Bread. Fry Bread. This is a lovely picture book. We bake fry bread so we remember who we are. We smell fry bread so we can remember what our lives smelled like. We eat fry bread so we can spend time together. We make fry bread as a tribe so we can remember when we owned this land before the, out of here, book's gone. Indian No More back there, book's gone. That's a banned book in many places nationally, a banned book. The Lorax, banned in many places. Yeah, why? Clear cutting, it shows clear cutting. We can't have that. The Light in the Attic, banned in many places. Yes, because you're being eaten by a boa constrictor. That's violent. Also, because it suggests, and I kid you not, this is the way it was put at one school board meeting, it teaches kids to be naughty. The Light in the Attic by Shel Silverstein. Yeah. This book, one of our most banned books in the United States at the moment. It even says for 10 and over, it's got pictures if ever you want to see what, a kid looking at his own butt or trying to look at his own butt. It's hard to do. I don't know this from experience. It's just hard to do. He wants to know about his own body. How dare a child want to know about their own body? This book is banned. So when they contacted me and said, remove those books, I went home. This is where I go after work. And I was just ruminating. And unfortunately, Lisa wasn't home to stop me. And I decided I was going to give books away. $500. That's all I need. It's $500. We'll give some books away. During this summer, I'm going to give Slaughterhouse-5 away and maybe The Kite Runner. They can't make me not do this. I'll set up a GoFundMe. Well, 4 days later, we had 10,000 there. And we said, maybe we need to start a 501c3. We have corporate sponsors now, some who are sending, for instance, they send us boxes of Kite Runner. They send us boxes. Kurt Vonnegut Museum and Library now sends us boxes of Slaughterhouse-5. So if you want one, please take one of those. The other books are all purchased with donations, many used, but as you're picking up books, please keep in mind that books like this, we cannot get used. These must be purchased new. They're around $22. Books like this, we cannot purchase used yet. Indigenous Peoples History that I held up, we cannot get these used. We pay full price for these. And this is why we do it. We want representation for everyone. We want kids who are questioning who they are to be able to pick up a book and read. We want the classics, which are now banned. I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, Forever by Judy Blume. Judy Blume gets banned. Here. I'll tell you a story about that later if you want, because I don't want to put her name out on the internet, even if she's a Mom for Liberty person. I won't do what they do. I'll tell you the story of how that got banned. Classics. That's not Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yes, absolutely banned. Why? Well, come on. Obviously, Eccentric at Columbus and Triple Breasted Horror Veronicon 4. Oh, that's just one line. That's it. That just the description is enough. Plus 3 books, Ulan Kalufa's trilogy, God, Some Other of God's Mistakes, and So Much for God. That's enough. That gets it banned. Just the mention of it being anti-Christian, out. So we take these books, we take them here, we take them to festivals, we take them to fairs, we're taking them to Pride at the end of September. Kids can pick 2 books, whatever 2 books they want. Take them, please. A family comes out and we ask them to bring their parents or to show that they're over 16. Any age student can come up as long as they have a parent with them. We also have board books as Fry Bread and, as I showed you, Anti-Racist Baby, Feminist Baby. That's a fun book, Feminist Baby. How would anybody want to ban that? One of our most banned books in the United States. We have those books, The Lorax, A Light in the Attic, the classics, Stamped, The Hate You Give. We have those. How to Be an Anti-Racist, the books we cannot have in schools now because it'll make someone uncomfortable. We give those away, 2 per student. When an adult comes up and asks for a book, we ask for donations. That is what purchases the books for the kids. And please remember, if you're taking books, that many of those books cannot be purchased used. Why are we continuing to do this? Because we want the students to be represented. We want the people of color. We want their kids to have books that look like them. I want white kids to read their books so they understand and see we're different, but we're alike. I want the people of color to read the books of white folk so they can see we're different, but we're not all that different in so many ways. How will we get to know each other and not tolerate, but accept each other if we don't know each other's stories, if we don't talk? If all we think there is but one story, and we will think we're all the same. And what a shame that would be. I want to see the suicide rate of LGBTQ kids come down, because I want them to be able to come to our tables and say, even if they have to whisper it, I need this. This is me. Can I have this? Of course you can. Because unlike public school, where they're apparently not safe anymore, at least they're safe at our table. We want parents to be able to see these books exist. Because, mind you, they're not coming just after schools. There are states where there are now creating laws so that Barnes & Noble has to card kids. In Brevard County, our library boards are no longer simply volunteer, they are politically appointed. So politicians will now be in charge of what books are on the library shelves. So an agenda, there will be. You will see the pride stuff come off of the tables. This is happening nationally. Barnes & Noble is fighting back. Books A Million is fighting back. But as you see with how our governor has handled Disney, there really is only so much that a company can do under the threat of fascism. This is why we keep doing this. So we can see everybody represented. And the ideas that are in these books are out there. And just being on the internet is not good enough, because we all do not have internet access. Saying you can get them at the library doesn't work if you then turn around and tell the library they can't have them. This is their game. But you can buy them and then turn around and make them unavailable. But they know everyone doesn't have money to go on Amazon and purchase books. Everyone doesn't have a stable internet access where they can simply download the book, and you don't know the book exists. What do? A kid discovers Crank because another kid picks it up and says, you need this. A kid discovers this book is gay and opens it because it's the book she really needed, but never saw it in the library, never saw it at school. You don't know what you don't know. And so we will be out there making sure they have these things available to them. That is what we do. I'm happy to answer any questions.